Okay, so we're going to talk about writing equations for parallel and perpendicular lines. So just a review from last unit, parallel lines are lines that have the same slope. Okay, so that means whatever m value they have is going to be identical, but they're going to have different y-intercepts. So that means their b value will be different. So let's take a look at an example. So we're going to write an equation of a line that passes through the point -3, -5, and is parallel, so that means m is going to be the same, to the line y equals 3x minus 1. So that means we need a slope of 3, but a different y-intercept. So when I'm using the slope-intercept form, I substitute in my slope. The thing I'm missing is my y-intercept. But we learned in the last section that I can find that by taking this ordered pair and plugging them in for the appropriate variables and then solving the equation for b. So I'm going to take the x-coordinate, which is -3, and substitute it in for x. And then I'll take the y-coordinate, which is -5, and substitute it in for -5. We always check for simplifying first. I can simplify 3 times -3, which gives me -9. And then I check for solving. So I have -5 equals -9 plus b. I would add 9 to both sides, and I end up getting b equals 4. So what I would do is I would take this y-intercept and the slope that I know has to be the same as the other line, and I would write them in slope-intercept form. So this equation right here is parallel to the given line because it goes through the point -3, -5. Let's try one more before we move on to perpendicular. So we're going to write the equation of a line that passes through the point 47 and is parallel, so the slope has to be the same, of the line y equals 1/2 x plus 3. So that means my slope has to be 1/2. We're going to, again, use the slope-intercept form, or substitute in the slope that I need to have. We're unsure of b, so I'm going to plug in my x-coordinate and my y-coordinate. Be careful to write your y-coordinate first and not your x-coordinate accidentally. I do simplifying, so I type in my calculator 1/2 times 4, and I get 7 is equal to 2 plus b. Then I go to solve that. I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides, and I get 5 is equal to b. So I use this in the slope-intercept form. Y equals 1/2 x plus 5. That equation is parallel to the original line. For a visual, you could go ahead and graph both to see that the lines are parallel. Take a look at perpendicular. So with perpendicular lines, they have opposite, reciprocal slopes. Both parts have to happen, but they're going to have different y-intercepts just like the parallel. Okay, so when we're taking a look at the same or similar equation as the one on the front, we've got going through a point -3, -5, and is perpendicular. So again, we need opposite reciprocal slope to y equals 3x minus 1. So if the slope is 3 as a fraction, that's 3 over 1. That's going to change to the opposite, which is negative, and then the reciprocal, which is 1/3. So my slope here has to be m equals -1/3. Okay, so I use the y equals mx plus b, which is my slope-intercept form. I substitute in my slope, and then I need to find b, so I take my coordinates. I plug in the y-coordinate first, the x-coordinate second. I simplify. When I type that in my calculator, I get 1 plus b is equal to -5. And then when I go to solve, I would subtract 1 from both sides, and I get -6 is equal to b. So I take my b value and my m value, and I write it in slope-intercept form. Okay, that line is perpendicular to the line y equals 3x minus 1. And the last one, I see that I want the equation of a line, so y equals mx plus b. That goes to the point 47 and is perpendicular, so opposite reciprocal slopes, to the line y equals 1/2 x plus 3. So if the m is 1/2, I need to do the opposite, which is going to be negative, and then the reciprocal, which is 2 over 1, but I check for simplifying always, and that would simplify to just -2. So I use my slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, substitute in the slope I just found. And then I take my coordinates and I substitute those in, the y value first, the x value second. I simplify by doing the multiplication. I get 7 equals -8 plus b. Then I solve by adding 8 to both sides, and I get 15 is equal to b. So I'm taking my b value and my new slope, and I'm putting them in slope-intercept. Okay, so that equation is perpendicular to the original line y equals 1/2 x plus 3. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, good luck on the practice.